Hello, everybody. I'm so excited about our upcoming keynote speaker with Paul Lau, CEO of SMUD. Paul, how are you doing today?
Great. Good seeing you, Joyce.
It's good to see you too. I'm not going to, hold up the things. We've got lots of people tuning in. They can't wait to hear your presentation. So I will just turn this over to you.
Yeah, go ahead, Laura. Can you actually put the slide on? Yeah, we can go ahead and skip the first slide. I think everybody is probably who's joining the session. So thank you and hello, everyone. I want to start by thanking Jason and C Prime for giving me the opportunity to talk about SMUD's 2030 zero carbon plan. It's always great to be a part of ETS and hear the latest and greatest from the thought leaders in our industry. Now, for some quick background, SMUD is a community-owned, not-for-profit electric utility. We have approximately 640,000 customer accounts that serves about a population of 1.5 million in California's capital region, making us the 6th largest public utility in the country. Now, SMUD is governed by a 7-member board of directors who are elected to staggered 4-year terms. Our rates among the lowest in California. I think we're about 38% lower than our competitor. And we're consistently ranked among the top utilities in the nation for customer satisfaction. In fact, I think we're the only utility that our board actually has a customer stat target for everything that we do, which is 95%. Now, eliminating all carbon emissions from our power mix by 2030, which is what we committed to doing in our zero carbon plan, is definitely one of the biggest challenge we've taken in our 75 years of history. But that's okay, though. We thrive on challenges, and we believe passionately that this is the absolute right thing to do. Next slide, please. Next slide. So now, fortunately for SMUD, it's on familiar grounds when it comes to environmental leadership. We've had renewable energy goals that predates and among the more aggressive than the state mandates. We're the first California utility to have 20% of energy come from renewable resources, and we adopted the 33% renewable portfolio standard target by 2020 before it was mandated. And we've developed the nation's first community solar program. Our commitment to environmental leadership has accelerated as the effect of climate change on California becomes clearer each year. Lengthier droughts and rampant wildfire has really forced our hands. Now, this summer further drove home the point with the Caldor fire, threatening SMUD's hydroelectric facilities in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Now, before making its way to the Lake Tahoe Basin, about 90 miles east of Sacramento, the location that housed our office and operations staff and equipment that support our hydro facilities was under mandatory evacuations. The urgency to decarbonize our power mix goes beyond simply wanting to slow or fight climate change. Now, being community-owned means we frame the problem in a local light. Decarbonization will greatly improve Sacramento's air quality. We are ranked the 6th most polluted city in the country based on days of unhealthy and unsafe level of air pollution in the ozone layer. Our childhood asthma rates are unacceptably high. This is just not acceptable. Now, improving air quality benefits the environment, public health, water quality, and much more. Now, our path to the zero carbon vision occurred in 3 distinctive steps. In 2018, SMUD developed and our board approved a 2040 energy plan that committed SMUD to spending $7 billion over the next 20 years to achieve a net zero greenhouse gas positions by 2040. The plan was approved by the California Energy Commission. Last summer, our board made an even more stronger statement by issuing a climate emergency declaration, setting an even more aggressive goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2030, 10 years earlier than the plan approved by the CEC. And when I became the CEO almost exactly a year ago, I introduced our 2030 clean energy vision, which called for absolute zero carbon in our power supply by 2030. We're going for absolute zero, no asterisks, no strings attached. And we're committed to doing that faster than any other large utilities in the US. I'd like to call out the word inclusive in our vision. our zero carbon plan is an open invitation to others to partner with us. Now, we know we can't reach zero on our own, but we're also approaching our bold goal through an equity lens to ensure no communities are left behind. If we don't bring all our customers and communities along as we pursue our zero carbon economy, we have failed. Now to the hardest part, the how. As in how we're going to get to zero carbon in 9 years without compromising our world-class reliability and without raising rates above the rate of inflation to 2030. That is the challenge. Next slide, please. Now, after I became CEO last fall, I quickly assembled a team of experts from across SMUD to translate the vision into a plan. Within 5 months, this is warp speed in utility talk, they developed our 2030 zero carbon plan. The plan is an aggressive yet flexible roadmap to reach zero carbon by 2030. And the board approved the plan in April 2021. The zero carbon plan focused on 4 main areas. The first is proven clean technology. Now this includes wind, solar, geothermal, hydro, biomass, short duration battery storage, electrification, and demand response, or now known as low flexibility, the things that's currently in our portfolio. Now, while today's carbon-free technology isn't capable of getting us to zero carbon, this resources could get us very close, at least 80 to 90% of the way. The second is new technology and business model and potential partnerships. We've identified new technology and business model options that enables us to work with partners in researching, piloting, and possibly bringing new technologies to scale. Now, this includes technologies such as green hydrogen and methane, along with long duration energy storage options such as flow batteries and compressed air storage. Now, this work will help us identify potential partners and business models like virtual power plants and launch pilot projects and programs to test and prove this new and emerging technologies, and we'll develop paths for prioritizing technology adoptions and, even more important, scaling. Now, the third area is natural gas generation, retirement, and retooling. Our plan spells out options for retiring and retooling our gas plants. Now, this includes retiring 2 power plants by 2025 and retooling and reimagining the rest of our fleets. Since the zero carbon plan is anchored in reliability and affordable rates, we'll conduct additional detailed reliability studies to finalize the plans for our gas-fired generators. And the fourth is a financial and regulatory strategy. The financial aspect of the 2030 zero carbon plan includes the estimated costs, ranges, and associated rate impacts, potential alternative revenue sources, such as partnership and grants, investment schedules for expanding our existing clean technologies, and research and piloting options. Now, as I mentioned before and earlier, we're committed to ensuring no community left behind. I'm really proud of the workforce development element of our plan. We're pursuing several through our sustainable community programs, and I'll share a couple of examples. Our energy career pathway programs educate adults age 18 and up in the hands-on technical skills needed to work in the solar energy field. Our mobility and advanced manufacturing career pathway programs prepare students for careers in advanced manufacturing as a precursor to careers in the fledgling clean mobility technology sector. Now, we're also partnering with the California Mobility Center on a number of workforce development and training programs to support e-mobility. Now, SMUD's zero carbon goal is best achieved by finding mutually beneficial solutions, and reaffirmed our commitment to being inclusive, supporting regional innovation, clean tech jobs, and attracting clean energy investments to the region through collaborative partnerships. Now, I know 9 years seems like a short window, and we know plenty will change between now and then, especially when it comes to technology. Look at what happened at iPhone. So our roadmap is flexible, and we'll revisit it regularly to adjust for economic conditions, changes in technology, and shifting customer expectations and preferences. Now, as for whether other utilities around the countries are in a position to pursue a goal similar to SMUD's, I hope that they'll take a look at what they're doing and determine a similar approach that makes the best sense for their customers. I will say this, from the wildfire in California to hurricanes on the Gulf Coast to flooding in Louisiana and New York, there's a growing consensus that climate change demands immediate actions. Constituents and kids are telling their elected representative that this is not a bipartisan issue. It's literally a life and death issue. We're seeing a broad support from our bold goals in the Sacramento region, and it's not limited to our service area. I was very fortunate. I was invited earlier this year to testify remotely before the House and Select committees on the climate crisis. The topic was making the case for climate action, creating new jobs, and catalyzing economic growth. It was a great opportunity to share the details of our zero carbon plan. I talked about how our plan moves way beyond just carbon reduction by improving local air quality, creating thousands of jobs in the clean energy sector, and providing health and economic benefits to all our customers, including those living in historically underserved communities. One of the committee members, Congressman Mike Levine, said he would like to see the entire committee visit Sacramento to get a close look at our efforts. Our clear takeaway was that our federal and state elected officials are paying more attention to the climate issues than ever before, and they have monies to put behind it. We're striking while the iron is hot, vigorously pursuing grants and other sources of funding. In fact, we had multiple sessions with the Department of Energy already, and we can't get to where we're going today using just our customers' money. And now by partnering with the private sector, the regulators, and the community at large, we can achieve our goals with rates that remains affordable. So we're also partnering with various local jurisdictions, including our city, counties, and others, to align our resources for maximum impact. So when we're solving for climate change, but we're also solving for inclusive workforce development, we're solving for clean air, we're solving for public health. So this is really what we're striving for. So seeing our employees and external partners rally enthusiastically around the goal has been one of the most exciting part of our journey to zero carbon. Next slide, please. So SMUD, we believe we're the center of both the climate crisis and the search for solutions. We're showcasing Sacramento as a model clean power region to attract climate-friendly businesses and create good-paying jobs, among other benefits. Now, equally important, we need to act quickly to protect all customers, and particularly those most impacted and the least represented. The positive aspect of eliminating carbon from SMUD's power supply, such as better air quality, will be even more pronounced in our disadvantaged communities. Now, SMUD's Sustainable Community Program is built around the belief premise that we have a duty to assist customers in the community left behind by big institutions, including to some degree, SMUD. So we're not just supporting cleaner energy and carbon reductions in these neighborhoods, we're teaming up with policymakers, healthcare providers, and community-based organizations to solve real problems for real people. For example, we're teaming with Habitat for Humanity to provide more than $1.1 million in funding for more than 50 homes and 100 multifamily residents, many in all electric communities, to provide solar powers and electric solutions. And we're also partnering with Grid Alternative, a local nonprofit, to install rooftop solar systems for low-income customers and local nonprofits. Next slide, please. Now, as you can see from this slide, we're planning significant additional investments in new renewables and the electrification of the building and transportation sector, recognizing the sizable carbon emissions from those sectors. Our customer will play an important role in the region's journey to zero carbon. Over the next 9 years, forecast shows customer will invest extensively in carbon-free resources, including 500 to 750 megawatts of rooftop solar and 50 to 250 megawatts of customer-owned batteries. Our board just approved an overhaul to our net energy metering rates for rooftop solar, including a $25 million incentives for battery storage. By helping the industry transition from solar to solar and storage, will help deliver the much needed flexibility that is essential for reliability while supporting carbon reduction. Between now and 2030, we'll more than double our investment in electrification and energy efficiency. And we're attacking carbon reductions with a wide range of customer programming incentives. We have dozens of offerings that range from our smart home programs for local developer to our advanced commercial solution programs that assist our 35,000 business customers with incentives and design assistance services. Next slide, please. So while our customers support our clean power goals, they make it crystal clear that two things they expect most from SMUD are affordable rates and reliable service. And we promise that we'll keep rate increases within inflation through 2030 by pursuing multiple sources of funding and partnerships, and also focusing on efficiencies within our own operations. Now, SMUD's rate is among the lowest in California, and our customers has told us they expect them to stay that way. And we'll not sacrifice reliability either. By the end of 2025, we're planning to retire 2 natural gas plants that accounts for 21% of our total natural gas generation capacity. Now, we've targeted these 2 plants for retirement as they both are located in underserved communities. We plan to replace the energy with local solar and battery storage resources. Now, 2 of the other gas-fired plants will be converted to peaking operations, used only during peak days in the summer or during extended weather events that limit productions from solar, hydro, or wind. Additional local solar and battery storage will be added to our system to replace lost energy and capacities from this retooling. Now, as for our largest and most efficient gas plants, the Consumnes Power Plant, we're studying ways to reduce utilization, possibly powering with clean fuels alternatives or replacing it with a number of utility scale options, such as carbon capture, long duration storage, and green hydrogens. And we might pilot a few of this to test the feasibility. Energy storage is a major part of our plan to transition from natural gas while providing firm and shaping of intermittent resources such as solar and wind. Now, in addition to developing up to 1,100 megawatts of new local short duration energy storage, we're exploring various forms of long duration energy storage that will provide days to weeks of storage or seasonal storage. Now, long duration energy storage technology include compressed air, thermal energy, flow batteries, and possibly hydrogen as an energy storage fuel. Now, some form of long duration energy storage or storable clean fuel will be critical to achieving zero carbon. Now, this is particularly true as the drought in California and across the West is reducing our hydro generation in our hydroelectric generation. Now, one of the most significant grid technology project is our advanced distribution management systems and distributed energy resource management systems project we launched in 2018. Now, this will help us continue the transition to a bi-directional and allow us to optimize customer-sited and utility-scale clean energy resources. The ADMS and DERMS will be critical to maintaining low rates and reliability as we move toward zero carbon and as the grid becomes now a bilateral direction power flow system. Now, this and other software platform makes it possible to run a complicated two-way grid in reliable fashion, managing the dedicated balance of real-time electricity flow between SMUD and customer-owned DERs. I think most of you in here probably doesn't know that the grid is balanced every 4 seconds, the supply and demand. Now, finally, while Sacramento is relatively low risk for wildfire, we do have hydroelectric facilities in the El Dorado National Forest east of Sacramento. The Caldor fire I mentioned earlier came within a mile of some of those facilities in late August. And we have underground portions of our 4 kV facilities in SMUD's power plants up in the Upper American River project. So on this slide, you see one of our utility scale batteries being installed. These are 6-unit, totaling 4 megawatts, and we're excited to officially open the project next month. You've probably been wondering about the goats. I mentioned wildfire a moment ago. Those goats were part of our wildfire mitigation efforts around hydro facilities. Last summer, they cleared vegetations around our high voltage power lines. So when I think about wildfire and drought, which is far too often these days, I feel even better about our decision to move quickly on the decarbonization front. Next slide, please. So we know we can't reach zero carbon goal with today's technology, and we can't get there alone. We need to innovate, to test, pilot, and really bring cutting edge solutions to the market. It's important to point out that SMUD isn't on this journey alone. Our goal really is an open invitations to others to partner and collaborate with us. We've been invigorated by the enthusiasm and momentum we're seeing, whether it's the city of Sacramento, Sacramento County, other jurisdictions, startups, businesses, others to join the charge. Partnerships are critical to achieving the zero carbon goal. That means moving forward with things we have never done before. As I mentioned, we overhauled our solar rate to transform the market to solar and storage. We're incentivizing wide adoption of batteries by offering customer $25 million in incentives through the end of the decade. Now, this will provide flexibility while spurring customer investments in solar and storage, which are key to reaching zero carbon. We're also working on virtual power plants, vehicle to grid technology, and a virtual solar program for multifamily dwellings in underserved communities, to offer just a few examples. We're looking holistically at technologies because we'll need every tool in our tool belt. And importantly, we're looking to make this technology available to all communities. Electrifying the transportation and building sector is central to our plan because these are the largest carbon emitters in our region. Just to give you some context, SMUD's power plants emits about 2 million metric tons of carbon in the region, and buildings and transportation emits about 8 million metric tons of carbon, about 4 times of the power sector. So electrifying and transportation, the building sector is central. So we, as I said earlier, we're proud to be a founding member in the California Mobility Center, and you'll hear from Alden Orchard during the ETS about the great work that's going on at the California Mobility Center in the clean mobility space. And we're also looking at carbon capture technology. We really are leaving no stone unturned. SMUD's robust research and development team is building on its deep experience in the R&D space as we look at cutting edge technologies. Next slide, please. So we're hitting the ground running through the board's approval in late April of the 2030 Zero Carbon Plan. We immediately launched our Clean Power City campaign and invited customers to join us in the journey. Our marketing campaign includes many of the things you expect: freeways and neighborhood billboards, digital and radio ads in multiple languages, organic and paid social media, print advertisement, and TV commercials in 7 languages. But we also tried new things, such launching a TikTok video challenge for middle and high school students. This really enables us to engage and challenge the young people who tends to be passionate about environmental issues. Our 2-week TikTok campaign resulted in more than 1.2 million impressions, 160,000 video views, and nearly 23,000 videos liked and shares. So the campaign really underscores how critical it is for us to have young people join us on our zero carbon journey, which brings me to a kind of personal story. My wife and I have 3 adult children, and we obviously wish the best for them. But what excites me the most, and is really telling, is that in my nearly 40 years of working at SMUD, this is the first time my kids has been genuinely interested in what their dad is doing at work. I guess it's really better late than never, right? So the notion of zero carbon captures their immediate attentions because they can imagine the difference it will make in their lives and the lives of future generations. Young people are worried about climate change. They have told us that when we talk to them, and they really are desperate for us to do something about it before we reach the point of no return. And as SMUD, we have an enormous opportunity to build a brighter, more sustainable future for our customers and our community. And I believe this from the bottom of my heart that this is our moment. And we're going to do everything in our power to make the most of it. So please come join us, on this charge. And thanks again for inviting me to come talk to you about SMUD's 2030 Clean Energy Plan. And that concludes my presentation.